Okay students, welcome you all. Let's talk about students today agents of pollination. So students, if we talk about the pollination process, that is going to be the transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma, okay, that can be done students in many ways, okay, and this particular process will be helped by different types of your agents. So basically this process will be happening students in cross pollination, where one plant will be having its particular male part and other plant will be having its female part, and from one plant to the other plant pollen grain transfer will be happening. Now what are all agents of pollination students that we can discuss, that we will be discussing basically in this particular session. So agents of pollination. Now students, your agents of pollination first of all can be divided into two types. So the very first type students is going to be your abiotic agents. So as students name is suggesting, these are going to be abiotic agents. It means these are going to be non-living agents. So these are non-biological, non-living agents. That means your abiotic agents. And students, your abiotic agents can be divided now further into two types. One, this particular abiotic agent can be air. So students, when pollination will be occurring by air, we call this process as your anemophily. So here students, if you see, air will be carrying the pollen grain from one plant to the stigma of other plant. But the agent is going to be air, that is abiotic, non-living thing only, right? So that particular process is student known as anemophily. Next students can be the case of water. So here pollination or your water will be carrying pollen grains from one plant to other plant. Okay, so by water, if pollination students is occurring, we will be calling this particular pollination as your hydrophily. So students, agents of pollination, first is abiotic. It means your non-living agents, that can be your by air anemophily and by water hydrophily. Next to students we talk about, we can have our biotic agents also. So biotic agents. And students, your biotic agents are going to be living in nature. So unlike your non-living particular agents, if we talk about the biotic agents, they are going to be living in nature. So what kind of living agents can transfer your pollen grain from anther to the stigma of other plant or the same plant sometime also? So student, that is going to be of different types. The very first important type that comes, it is going to be your insects. So students, the very first important biotic agents that are there, that can actually carry pollen grain from your anther to the stigma, they are going to be students insects. So if pollination is occurring students by insects, this is known as your entomophily, right? Entomophily students, it means when pollination is occurring by the insects. Next students, we are having your chiropterophily. Or we can say students, next is going to be our by bats. So students, if bats are responsible for the process of pollination, we know that students, certain plants flower, okay, their flower blossoms in the night, and some of the flower students that are there, they blossom in the day. So night blossoming flowers that are there students, in those cases some night, okay, traveling organism can only work. So in night our bats are active students. So these bats actually, they can transfer pollen grain in night blossoming flowers. Okay, so students, we talk about when the biotic agent of pollination is going to be bat. So this particular process is known as your chiropterophily. After that, students, the next particular important type of your organism that is going to be there, that will be helping in the process of your transport of pollen grain from anther to the stigma is going to be snails. So snails, students, can also help in the pollination. Then this process, students, will be known as your malacophily. And students, if the next that is going to be our by birds, if birds are doing your process of pollination, then this process, students, is known as your ornithophily. So students, these are going to be 4 important your animals that will be helping in the process of your transport of pollen grain from anther to the stigma, and all are going to be, students, your biotic or living agents. By insects, entomophily; by your bats, chiropterophily; and after that by snails, malacophily; and your by birds, it is going to be ornithophily. Okay, so students, in this session we talked about your agents of pollination that will be helping in the process of pollination or movement of your pollen grains from the male part anther to the female part stigma. Let's meet, student, in next wonderful session with some other important topic. Till then, keep studying, keep growing. Bye bye everybody.